Hi again. We're going to talk about escaping the 9 to 5 today, or at least what happens after you've escaped the 9 to 5. After you've got out the rat race, you've got all the time in the world to yourself. What then? I'm going to quickly recap for the people that are new to the channel. I know a lot of viewers that watch this channel already know my backstory, but I'll just quickly, for the viewers that don't, I invested as much as I possibly could in my early 20s into property, so that by the time I reached my late 20s, I was able to effectively retire because I was getting enough in passive income to no longer have to work anymore. Not an obscene amount of money. It was about the equivalent of somebody working minimum wage in a full-time job, but for a frugal guy like me, that's more than enough to live. So from that moment on, I slowly reduced my working hours, and basically up to the point where I'm at now, where I still choose to work, which we'll get into in a minute, but I only do about 4 to 5 days a month, or about 20 hours a month. All right, so basically, a lot of people have this idea in their mind that when you escape the 9 to 5, you're going to have all the free time in the world. You're going to probably lounge about in your dressing gown and just I don't know what your idea is. Maybe you just want to watch Netflix all day and not have to worry about working ever again. Maybe you're someone that has a passion project and you're thinking, if only I could just get out of work and focus on that, then I could accomplish my dreams and I wouldn't have to worry about money anymore. Well, we'll get into that in a minute as well. So I think all of us can agree that at school we're kind of conditioned, we have it pumped into our minds that 9 to 5 is what everyone does. That's just how you live your life. That's, you go to work, you work 36 to 40 hours a week, and you earn enough money to pretty much just get by, especially in modern society. Well, I didn't agree with any of that. I thought, this isn't for me. I had no actual experience of this. It was just the idea in my mind. But then I got my first job, which was in a jewellery shop, and that was I worked there for about a year and a half, and that really solidified it for me. I was like, oh my god, this is not for me. I need to get out of this. And that's why, maybe that was what motivated me so much to save as much as possible and invest to get out of that position that I was in, because what other choice would I have had? I would have been in the same position as most people that do work 9 to 5, that don't want to do it but feel like they have to, because they're kind of in a bit of a, they're kind of trapped, they kind of can't get out of it. Well, I've made other videos on that and on how you can get out of it, even on a low wage, so I'll leave links in the description for those. But what happens when you have managed to do it? You've managed to save enough that you can then reduce your hours enough that you don't actually have to work anymore. What happens then? Because for a lot of people, they think that it's going to be these glorious times, but in reality, they need structure. They need some form of structure in their life. Now, everybody's different, and that could be you, but what if you're one of those people that I mentioned earlier who they do have a passion project that they'd love to work on? If you can discipline yourself enough to have to manage to work on that passion project, then you can fulfill your dreams. Like that is the main goal of escaping the 9 to 5, is to be able to do the things that you really want to do with your life. But I think for a lot of people, they actually begin to lose purpose and they become kind of lost. You see this a lot with like celebrities and children that have very rich parents, where they don't have to go to work. They've never been through that the adversity of having to build the lifestyle to the point where they don't have to do a 9 to 5 because they've worked hard to get there. If it's just been given to them, then a lot of them kind of like they become lost and they turn to drugs, they turn to alcohol. You see a lot of them get into these like crazy car accidents and stuff and just end up doing these wild, bizarre things that would never have happened if they'd actually had to work on themselves to escape the 9 to 5 without anybody else's help. Not to say that people can't help a little bit along the way, but I think you get the idea. So my advice on this is that if you are someone that isn't very self-motivated, or you don't have a dream that like a passion project that you feel so strongly about that you just want to do that more than anything else, maybe escaping the 9 to 5 isn't for you. Maybe you'll find yourself in a position where you feel very bored and lonely, and it might just be not the right choice. But if you are somebody that is self-motivated and you feel like you can be very productive with your time once and you actually get away from the rat race, then 100% yeah, 9 to 5 is for you. Like, you've got to have something, a plan in place for when you've left a 9 to 5, where it's like, right, this is what I'm going to do when I've got all my free time. And you've got to stick to that plan as well, because it can be easy to just kind of let it fall to the wayside and think, oh, now, like, because you've got free choice when you get up, you might become so lazy that you just don't feel the motivation anymore. But if you know yourself enough and you know that you're the kind of person that is dedicated to getting things done, does look after the fitness, and you go to the gym and you stick to a diet, if you're that kind of person, then more than likely you are going to be so productive with that extra time that you can accomplish things that you never even thought possible. Not everybody, like I said, this isn't for everybody, and I'm not saying that the people who don't feel that way shouldn't strive to escape the 9 to 5 too, because I think everybody should kind of like reach a point where they have more freedom in their life, because there's things that you can spend your time doing once you have that freedom that are much more fulfilling than working for somebody else. Like spending more time with your family and friends, doing the hobbies that you really enjoy to do, and as well as that passion project, having something that you're working on that is so important to you that it's almost like you love to do that more than anything. It's what you live for. It's what you wake up in the morning and can't wait to get out of bed for. If you've got those things to do when you've left the 9 to 5, then you're going to be thriving, you're going to be loving life. But I think it's still important to have that kind of that work-life balance. If you don't have that project that you're working on, if you don't have a balance of different things to do with that time, with all of that new free time, then, like I said, you might start to get lost. And by the way, there's evidence of this, because a lot of people who retire, if you look up the statistics on this, maybe I'll add some to the screenshot here. A lot of people that retire, a lot of the time they either end up dying because partly out of boredom, or they end up going back to work. So that just shows you need to be doing something productive with your time. And by the way, I just want to finish with this. To the people that, especially in the UK, I'm not overly familiar with other parts of the world, but in the UK, those people that are living on the benefit system because it kind of caters to their needs a bit. The problem with the UK benefit system is that if you don't work a full-time minimum wage job, you are only slightly less better off. So a lot of people just choose not to work. Now, if that is you, then I'm sorry, but like, you're not contributing to society, and I don't think that's very fair. Like, and you're not going to be happy either. Like, the people that I know that have kind of not been in work for a long time by choice, you can see that there's like a bit of their soul missing. They're just unfulfilled in their life, and that will be you. Like, you might enjoy it for a little while, but eventually you're just going to feel empty, and you're going to need to be doing something productive, like we talked about. And that's why it's important to either be doing a job that you actually enjoy, or filling that free time with doing something that is very productive but also very meaningful to you, because if it's not meaningful to you, then you're going to get bored of that pretty fast as well. All right, I hope you got something from this, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.